And we are live, guys. It's been a minute since I've done a live stream. I actually did one last week with Clyde, but we have a special guest today. You guys might remember Adam from 1010 Talk. How you been, bud?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's been a while since I've done this YouTube thing, so
Yeah.
hopefully this kickstarts my comeback, right?
Yeah, we've been trying to push you. I know I've been talking to Random Rob. He said he was trying to push you a little bit too, I think, right?
Yeah, he just texted me like the other day actually, and like all randomly. I was like, "Oh man, I don't even remember Rob having my number." I see
Yeah,
random Rob come in there, and I'm like, "Oh snap!"
for sure,
So
for
yeah,
sure.
man, I have to, I have to. Things have been a little crazy for me since like beginning of COVID. Moving around like 2 3 different times, prioritizing trying to get back on my feet with like kind of like career path and everything, and like I'm back in a kind of more stable sort of like um stable spot in my life where like I actually have time to make for some more videos, so I should do it soon.
Nice. You're down in DC, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I
man.
thought.
How you
What are you?
been?
Been pretty good, man. Been working at
Yeah,
LB, as you know it. Love it. I mean,
hell
dealing
yeah.
with all the high end stuff. I get to roll over pieces I would never thought I would have seen in person.
It's fun, right?
So
It's fun.
for sure,
I remember that in New York when I was in New York. I was like, there's no place like New York, obviously, for watches, unless you're a dealer. But like, man, I would say it was a blessing being able to see the stuff out there that I did.
for sure. What are you wearing today? Watch, watch.
I got my Speedy on, my
Nice.
my 3590 from this one's from 95, I think.
Uh-huh.
It's got the nice little custardy patina. I actually thought about selling this one, and I was dead set on it for a while. And then I sent some photos to somebody, and because in my mind, like this is a great example, like just really really sharp, and great condition. And in my mind, I was making it out to be too much of like a collector's piece, like even museum grade, but it
Mm.
really isn't. So I wasn't wearing it enough. And then I was talking to another dealer friend actually who like he was taking a look at it, and they were like, "Yeah, no, it's a great example, but like this, and this are like not perfect." And it kind of humbled me, and I'm like, you know what? If this is just a regular run of the mill Speedy, albeit in really good condition, I need to just wear it. Just suck it up and wear it. You know what I mean?
It's a
I
great
was I
everyday
was
piece too.
being a little it was being a little too precious about it. Kind of
Mm.
trying to save it when I shouldn't have been. It should be worn. So, what about you?
Nice.
What you got?
Just threw on the Hamilton khaki, the 38 mil mechanical.
Yeah,
Love this piece. Hadn't worn it enough.
yeah,
I rebought it recently. I missed it, and I kind of rebought it, which
yeah.
kind
It's
of
nice.
segues into the topic we were thinking about, like
Yeah,
day in day out. Like I'm fortunate enough to handle high end pieces, Richard Mill, AP, whatever else have you, but
yeah,
I still kind of tend to circle back towards the affordables for some reason or another. What about you?
yeah, man. I most recently too. Like, I mean, I've been wearing the Speedy a good bit over the last like week or so. Um, but even then, I still find myself going back to like some Seikos, my PRX. I have a CWC diver that I wore
So you
most
have
of the
the
summer.
PRX
Yep,
here, the
yep,
blue.
exact same one, 40 mil in blue. I have the quartz one too. I got it when it like kind of first came out. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm looking down at my pieces right now, and like I keep, the money that I've spent over the last 2 years on more affordable watches, I probably could have gotten easily like some kind of Black Bay. Because I've been looking at some Black Bays over the last year or so. But like I don't regret it. Like for me, I feel like people always talk about quality over quantity, but I kind
Mm-hmm.
of like a mix of quality and quantity.
I
Like I've
got
got
you.
I've got a couple nice high end pieces, but man, I still like, for example, I can't even tell you how much I've worn. This is a rowing Blazers 5KX that came out last year with kind of like that rainbow bezel. And I threw it on the SSK GMT Jubilee.
Okay.
And man, I wear this thing like almost every freaking day,
Did you see
and
the
it,
one they just came out with? What was it, yesterday or the day before? The new collab with the Rowing
yeah,
Blazer.
I got one. I got the
Oh,
black
did
one
you?
with the rainbow indices. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Of course, you know
I'm
I love the orange one.
Yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah.
So
Um, yeah, but I mean, they're just so fun. There's in a time when especially through COVID, all asset, there's like an all asset bubble. Everything got crazy.
Mm,
People paying 10,000 plus for the most basic, like 5 digit, Rolexes. And in a time where all this craziness is happening, it's kind of fun to just go back and have fun with the affordables that give you sometimes more joy than an expensive piece would. You know what I mean?
for sure.
Yeah.
For
What are
sure.
your thoughts on it?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I do actually have a Rolex on my list. The more I handle them, the more I kind of, appreciate them.
Hell
I
yeah.
do kind of have a sky roller. I kind of want the black on Jubilee at some point. I don't know. It'll probably be like next year sometime whenever I get it. But lately, I've been rebuying affordables, and like the most expensive thing I've bought lately for my own collection is this Breitling Endurance, the
Oh,
Pro.
hell yeah. That's really cool.
So
That's a fun
I mean,
piece.
it's a me watch. You know what I mean? It's orange. It's like it goes for both the teams. Like the colors that I wear for both the teams.
Yeah.
So like the Browns and Clemson, they both wear orange. So I can get a lot of wear time out of it though. What about you?
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I mean, like I just bought that Rowing Blazers Seiko, right? Yesterday or whenever it was, 2 days ago, I guess. It comes on Monday, that's all I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I got a moon swatch. I got the let me pull this bad boy up too, since I have all these here. Like my buddy just got me this. He was in Vancouver and got it from this watch store, right? So like I picked up the Uranus.
My
Like I
coworker
mean,
actually has that one, the blue one,
oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, if
Nice. Yeah,
you if you watch
like
the
the
show,
light blue, baby blue.
Alex. Yeah, he has that one.
Nice, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. But like in terms of like, I'm kind of just like looking. No, there's nothing really that's catching my eye right now. I kind of I mean, ultimately, like I would love. There's a whole bunch of different longas that I would love, and like longer term, like longa,
Mm-hmm.
Laurent Ferrier. I really love a bunch of the different galets, and um, I love the pockets, the pocket watch style movements that a lot of the galets have with like the micro rotor and all that. But that's, I'm nowhere near financially successful enough
Yeah.
to be able to justify something like that in my life yet. Um, but what's really caught my eye? The black base silver, the 925 silver. I
Mm-hmm.
saw it in person. I've been kind of fixated on the black base ceramic for a little while, and man, dude, like the silver, I saw it in person, and that like the luster and like that white metal, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like no one really thinks about it, but like it is a precious metal, like
Mm-hmm.
it isn't that platinum, gold, all that palladium kind of family. Um, and it'd kind of be cool to see how it patinas. So that might be like one of the nicer watches that might be next on my list. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think we actually have
Um,
one of those in stock at the moment. I think the
and they're
silver
like
ones.
they're pretty decent value too. They're
Mm-hmm.
not that expensive. Um,
You can pick them up like 3-4 grand used, a little
yeah,
bit
yeah,
above.
yeah, man, in like great condition, and like with Tudor, like I don't know if there's much that's beating Tudor and like Omega in that sort of price range,
Mm-hmm.
like 3 to 4K. But um, yeah, man, I've been wearing my Longines a lot. Picked up another
Which
Nomos. I have 3 Nomos now. So I have the Longines sector dial that
nice.
um, Houdinki released last year, actually
Mm-hmm.
around this time. It's like 500 pieces. I didn't get a chance to get it initially, and then I got it from like another friend. And man, I got to tell you, there's something about the sector dials. I love it so much, and like all these independents now are coming out with these, sector dials. Like Laurent Ferrier, what I just mentioned, they had a beautiful sector dial. I think 2 runs with Revolution Watch
Mm-hmm.
Magazine. Masena has done a couple sectors over the last few years, and like I can't I can't get enough of it, man. I love sector dial watches. So if there's ever a special release that's like something I can afford,
Mm-hmm.
you never know if I'll just pounce on it.
If you remember a few years back, I stupidly passed up on the JLC Scepter Gal, one of the original ones. That's when
Yeah,
I got the Breitling. That's I don't know if Nia's referring to me or you. Did you own a JLC
I
Scepter Gal
did.
at one
I
point?
actually had a JLC sector for this was like when I was in the thick of the channel and just like nonstop flipping watches, and like nothing would stay because I would sell it because then I would use the money to get something else to review in. But I did have this JLC sector, and it was one of the first like first times that I ever ever owned a watch where like I would just look down and like be in awe, honestly.
Mm,
It's like one of those. I mean, you deal with those kind of pieces on a daily basis at this point, right?
yeah.
Chris, but like it was crazy to like think that it was mine. I could flip it over, see that, 22 karat gold rose gold or yellow gold rotor. It was something else, but yeah, I flipped it. I don't know if I regret it that much. I think objectively design wise, I actually like the Longines more, and I like the size of the Longines more in the step case. But obviously, the finishing and the movement and pretty much everything else on the sector was a step beyond, the Houdinki. But that's okay.
Yeah. Neo was talking about your partner. By the way, do you ever still talk to Patrick anymore? Though?
Oh man, I haven't talked to him in a long time, man. We still texted here and there, like after we kind of like parted ways. I think he's working with Warren and Wound now. So
Okay.
um yeah, he's I hope he's doing great, man. I got to shoot him a text one of these days again, see how he's
For
doing.
sure. For sure. So other than tutor, you don't think you have your eyes on anything else?
Oh man, I don't know. It changes. It changes. I see random Rob just popped
There's
in.
random Rob. What's up,
Um,
Rob?
I don't know, man. I have so many watches now, and they all kind of they all fit a certain mood. Like any kind of mood I'm in, I have a watch for that. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
vintage, vintage sporty mood. Boom, I got my Speedy. I'm in a blingy mood. Boom, the PRX takes care of that as good as well as a $6,000-7,000 watch will. You know what I mean?
I mean, it
Uh,
looks just like a little 15400 to me. I mean,
it really does, man. I think I told you this earlier, but I was in Watches of Switzerland a couple of weeks ago with my wife, and she was wearing. We were with a bunch of watch friends that like know some of the employees there, and we were just hanging. And my wife has the 35 millimeter gold PRX, and one of the sales guys for like a split second, he's like, I thought for a second that was a Vacheron 222, just for a
mm,
split second, and then I saw it ticking. But like the fact that it has that kind of presence to even just make people kind of just stop for a second. Yeah, Rob, I see Rob. I
mhm.
mentioned this earlier, but that Rowing Blazers, man, I've been wearing this thing like crazy. It's just such a there's something I think with affordables, like you mentioned, Chris, going back to that, like there's something about the like the nostalgia, right? Like an
Mm.
SKX is kind of what started it all for me. Hamilton Khaki King 2 was like my first kind of nice Swiss watch. And then SKX after that, and like, oh man, there's nothing like it, man. It's just so comfy,
I was
like
actually talking to Rob yesterday. I was messaging hhim. I'm like, do you know anybody that has the SKs for sale for cheap? Because I kind of regret selling mine. I
yeah,
have the 009 and the 007, and I
yeah,
kind of
I
regret selling those.
yeah, man. I had a J, and I actually sold it to my friend, who's just getting into watches. So it was like the perfect person to get it. I sold it
Mm.
to him cheap, and now he's got a Grand Seiko on his his Grail list. So it was kind of fun to get him sort of introduced into watches with that.
Nice. Yeah, it's
Um,
always nice to get a whole nother generation into it.
yeah. What have you been wearing mostly though, besides like the PRX and the
Uh,
Hamilton?
Basically, like I said, this Breitling Endurance kind of
Yeah,
mainly what I
that's
do
been
because I wear a lot
dominating
of
the race.
orange. I'm
Hell
a
yeah.
Clemson fan in college, and then the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, we've had an unfortunate season this year as every year, but
It's been a little bit of a
we won't
whirlwind
miss
for
them.
you guys.
Yeah, yeah, but
um,
so it goes with all that, and I've been wearing that a good bit. It's just it's a me watch. I mean, what about you?
Yeah, man. I wore my Damasco a lot. If I'm during the summertime, I wore the Damasco a lot. I have a CWC, the all black
Mhm.
SBS diver that I was not wearing at all, and then all of a sudden I just started wearing it, and this took me through a lot of summertime. That's a fun one. Most
That's
recently,
it.
man, the Rolling Blazers, like
Okay.
non-stop, dude. I can't really, I can't put into words like why. It's just fun, and I feel like I've been gravitating towards color a lot recently,
Mhm.
which for you can say the same with your little, the orange, right? The orange
Mhm.
strap and the I don't know. I've kind of been enjoying like a little bit of flash in terms of like color rather than bling with the steel and polishing, right? So Yeah,
And it's
man.
something you don't really have to worry about getting robbed for either. I mean, just like here, I'm sure
Shoot,
that
man.
parts of DC you go out and you don't want to wear like a nice, Mega or Rolex or whatever else.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's crazy hearing like all the stuff that's been happening in all these cities, you know. Um, but I mean that's what happens when watches, 5x in like 12
Mhm.
months, and they're pretty easily recognizable too in the streets. Kind of sucks, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, man. But that's it's crazy. I remember always being so obsessed with all these new watches coming out and wanting to own one, but with like what I've got right now, because I've got something for like every occasion, I'm just kind of content with what I have, you know.
Mhm.
Um, I wish I like wanted a nicer
Mhm.
watch. Like, I could see like I've always loved the newest Master Coaxial or the new ceramic date Seamaster Professionals.
Mhm.
Even just like a straight just the blue one, right? With the ceramic bezel or the ceramic bezel and the ceramic insert, with the wave. And I'm like, I could get one, but like I have all these other divers that I get so
Mhm.
much enjoyment out of. Like, do I really need to spend like 4 grand, 4.5 grand for a new Seamaster ceramic? Probably want rather have some special watches, like a couple different Rowing Blazers, Seikos, and
Mhm.
um, whatever limited edition will pop up in the next year, right? Because I feel like they're popping up all the time.
I like
Um,
the
but
white Dalsy Master with the black bezel. I
yeah,
like that one's.
white's nice. White is like nice and pearly too. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
trying to think of anything else that's really caught my attention recently. But like I said, it's mostly affordable stuff. Like I always thought this Moon Swatch, that was like I couldn't believe it when I saw those come out. Um, but I think I told you like ultimate Grail. On the hot side, like Laurent Ferrier and Longa
Mhm.
are really up there. But I definitely like on more of like the crazy, lottery winning money type stuff. Um, I love the black ceramic APs, in particular the
Mhm.
perpetual, not the open work one, but
The
the
one I
exact
showed
one
you.
that yeah, the one you sent
Yeah.
me. And man, there's just something about the VC222, man, like the gold. I've seen 5711s in person, Royal Oaks in person. And I love them all. Like they're all great. But and I still haven't seen the VC, Vacheron in person, but
Mhm.
there's just something about it. It's just too perfect, man. It's like 37 mil, I think, and it's just got more of like this like classical feel to it rather than hype feel.
Mhm.
I think they nailed it with bringing that thing back, man. I saw
What the
Rob mention Nomos. I do have three Nomos in the stable now, so I feel like that's a
what's the
lot.
newest Nomos you got? You got
I got the
one?
Tangent, man. Yeah, the Tangent Platinum Gray. Where the heck is it? Here we go. Actually, this is looking pretty flashy right now because I have it
Mhm.
on a white on a white Himalayan crocodile strap from
Okay.
Deluxe. So it's got like that extra little flare. But yeah, man, I love it. It's got like the rhodium dial, and you can't really tell here, but like it's got sort of like the powder dusted style dial. It's got their DUW 3001 automatic movement, which I think like for the money, it's got to be
Mhm.
like one of the best automatic movements you can get. I mean, the thinness, the fact that this is automatic and it's this thin, it's just ridiculous. So, um, yeah, man, I've
I
always
mean,
loved Nomos. I think people think they're getting a little boring with
that's one
their
brand
music
I've
tape.
never actually held in person is Nomos. I've never seen or
No
held
way,
one. Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
I've always
funny.
wanted to. They came out with
Yeah.
that orange one, of course. Thanks for the super chat, Bazils and Bezels. Appreciate that, bud.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know about the bear hug, but I'll give him a high five for you. That's my roommate Marco. I don't know if you watched
Nice.
the Gray Market or not,
Awesome.
but yeah, that's one brand I've never really tried out in person is Nomos. I've always
Yeah.
been interested to try them.
Yeah, man. There's, for the price point, I don't think many. I mean, they're going up market a little bit. Um, but if you buy used or you kind of can find like an overseas vendor for a brand new one, um, they're still a great value. I mean, I got this. This is a club too that I have, and I have it on
Mhm.
a on on a stay bracelet, the German, brand, and I wear the Nomos all the time, man. All of them, all of them, honestly. But they're, they got a particular. There's a distinct look. They're a little polarizing in that some people love the simplicity and some people think it looks cheap, and
Yeah.
kind of like whatever.
James, I don't know if you know James Kibble from Kibble Watches just commented on that.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah, man.
I had him on a live a while back. He was one of the first people I actually started watching on YouTube too. I remember when he was like little man.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome, man. I'm pretty sure I did like my first ever live event ever on YouTube with him long time ago. That's so awesome. That's cool.
No, he's out in England doing his thing, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
But yeah, like I said, that's no much for the money too. Like you said, you can't really beat it for like in-house movement. I kind of like that. What is it, the Autobahn?
Yeah, the Autobahn's
like
a pretty interesting one. Yeah. So what is with your time so far? Obviously, you've learned a lot, like a shit ton in the last year or so.
Mm-hmm.
What brands have surprised you the most, or maybe like particular watches? And then like what in terms of like finishing, when I talk like finishing, I mean like movement finishing. Have you been like, whoa, I didn't know that like watches were this beautiful until I saw this case back,
I mean, honestly, one watch that surprised me the most, the more I handle it, and obviously the more I work with Adrian. Adrian's a big RM fan. And Richard Mille, I know they are kind of a hype brand, but I get why they are. It's just like the more you handle it, the more you see why people love it.
Yeah.
Now, if I ever had the money, would I ever? But like, if I had like multi-millionaire money, would I ever buy RM? I don't know if I would, but that's one brand that's really. I didn't really hate the brand before I started there, but I never really was a big fan until now. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I've only ever handled like two, I think, and one of them was the one of one. Only Watch. Remember the Only Watch auction? They have it every year or whatever, and they had some type of orange McLaren RM, and I was able to handle that. And the only reason I was a little disappointed with that one is just because it felt a lot heavier than I thought it was going to, and like I feel like I need to handle like a Bubba Watson, or I think one of my favorite ones. It's either 60. I think it's 6702. They made it there. It's like in the name. They made it for like some Olympians, basically, some years back. But I think that's the lightest one they have.
Van Neatwork, 6701. We just sold.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We've had a couple of those, and we have nice. Le Mans in too as well, the green and orange one.
Yeah, nice.
White strap. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just need to handle one of those really light ones, so I can be like, wow, this is what RM's about.
The red carbon is cool too. It's light, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
With the NTPT. Yeah. So that's one brand that's kind of surprised me.
Yeah. That's actually interesting. That's a good surprise because like a lot of people they get a lot of hate, right? So so it's nice to hear that like, after you've handled so many of those in a hype era that they're still pretty cool.
Yeah, I get now why people love them so much.
Yeah,
they do. As far as like finishing on movements, I would probably have to say this off the top of my head, really probably AP, honestly.
Oh yeah?
Some of their stuff, yeah.
Nice. I mean, yeah, like I don't think, with the like the Royal Oak, right? Like I don't think nothing really comes close to that. Like the intensity of like their brushing, and the polishing on the bevels and everything. And then like their movements. So are you saying that the overall movement or watch and movement finishing like goes to AP?
Yeah,
or
it's
more,
overall the whole
overall,
package together. Yeah. Just a little more refined all together.
It is. Yeah, my friend has a 15300, and every time I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, these lines are distinct, It's a great watch. That's awesome, man.
And of course, what used to power a lot of them was the JLC movements on APs.
Yeah, man. Like the Jumbo, right? The Royal Oak Jumbo. That's had the 15202 has always like historically had a JLC movement, I guess, and a bunch of other ones from previous years too. Yeah, I'm actually looking at a Royal Oak uh, vintage ad on my wall right now, and it says, "You think," he taunted, "that for 5,800 they'd have concealed the bolts back when?" Here, let me just pull this off the thing. I have a bunch of these
Okay.
lining my wall, like all these like 50s, 60s, 70s, vintage ads, and I just frame them. Pretty cool. Yeah, man.
That's cool. MB&F is another one too. Their finishing and movement is like crazy. Like we have the Legacy machine and that thing
Yep.
is. We have one in rose gold. I think it's limited to what is it, like 20 pieces or something like that, real wide.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing, the finishing on that thing is just crazy. It's like a
Yeah,
whole nother
MBNF
level.
just does some like weird, crazy stuff, man. Like, oh man, I saw the bullfrog. One of my friends had the bullfrog for a little while. It was like it was like the piece that was making its way around through the press.
We have
Um,
one of those in actually, I believe.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's a wild one.
it's
And
crazy
then
looking,
like
like the big eyes.
yeah. And the like I saw the Moser Legacy Machine
Hmm.
collab that they did. I think it was last year. Just all their stuff, man, is like unbelievable to see in person. I saw I think the two brands that probably like in person I was just like wow, I was shocked, Like Longa, I knew their finishing was going to be
Hmm.
amazing. You can see that in the high definition videos that channels have, and like it's got that incredible three-dimensional, element when you look like a data graph or like a, you know,
And they're
um
a stealth wealth piece. Like unless you know
yeah,
watches, you're not gonna know you're wearing a 30, 40 or more $1,000 watch.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I think Groenfeld's up there too. I think
Yeah.
when I first saw a Groenfeld watch, same thing with the movement. It's like I think they make like a really popular remontoire movement, and the depth of the case back of the movement is what you would see like on a dotograph from Longa. It's pretty incredible. I remember when I was in watch time, I was really impressed too with Romain Gauthier, like the
Hmm.
finishing and like the architecture of the plates, the plating, and even just on the dial, like everything that he had was just unbelievable. Um, and then I remember I have seen a couple of Grubel Foursies too, which are just like
Hmm.
that's just a whole nother stratosphere.
They're crazy. Yeah.
Um, but
What about Urwork? Have you ever handled Urwork?
I haven't like only once. I feel like that's a watch that I haven't really seen much.
Yeah.
Like even going through going to all these watch events and everything. Have you?
Yeah, we actually have 3 at the moment in
Oh
shop.
yeah, big
Yeah, we
fan.
have the Hammerhead, titanium, if you know it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then we have 2 others. I can't remember the names and the models offhand, but I'll have to show them to you. Once we go off air, I'll see them message. But yeah, we actually have 3 of those. What about FP Zorn?
Oh yeah. You know what's funny, man? I've when it comes to actually this titanium hammerhead looks crazy. That's like
Mhm,
a straight up sci-fi Urwerk.
mhm.
Like exaggerated even more sci-fi than
Michael
Urwerk
Jordan's
usually
actually a
is.
big Urwerk fan.
I've seen that. Yeah, I follow some of those like celebrity sighting sites and
Mhm.
everything, or the Instagrams, and I see him. I see him with them sometimes. FP Jour, man, I love like incredible finishing, incredible movements. Um, I don't love the FP Journe aesthetic. I
Mhm.
love the basically all of the chronomets, like the chronomet blue, the chronomet sovereign, all those
We
simple
have
like
the Subrain. We just sold one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
Chronomet Blues. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that one. Like that one's I feel like that one's so underrated because it's just not as crazy as some of the other ones, right? And then there's like this chronomet. There's like a black edition, which is like a very difficult
Mhm.
one to get. I guess it's only for special clients or something like that. Um, I kind of like those simpler ones when it comes to like complications and everything that FP Journe does. I'm kind of like I can acknowledge that they're beautiful, but I'm a little indifferent when it comes to the designs and I'd rather have like a more classical design like a 1815 chrono or something like
Yeah.
that, at those price points than others. I know FP Jordan does some incredible, complications that are, right at the top with everybody else. But yeah, I think like the hype is deserved, but it just I'm like, okay, they're pretty cool,
Like we
but
have
I don't
the
think I'll get that one.
titanium, the what is it, the Octa Luna,
Uh huh.
titanium.
Oh
The
yeah,
only
yep.
only thing is, I
Or the
love that
aluminum?
watch.
Is it aluminum or
Titanium.
titanium? Okay.
It wears so light, but the only thing it reminds me too much of Steelers colors is the black and white.
So
So
that's funny.
that's the only thing that would
Red
like turn me off on that watch.
automatic blacklist, right?
Not necessarily, but it just reminds me too much of like the
Too
Steelers
much.
colors.
That's funny. That's funny, man. Yeah, and I mean, I always loved one thing that I got to give FP Joint for credit for too is the elegant. And that
Hmm.
watch is just so, man.
We
Like
have
I don't know
two of
anybody that's
those, and we
pushing.
just picked up a third.
Man,
Elegante.
I remember, dude, when those were like 9, 10, 11 grand
Hmm.
pre-COVID hypeness,
Hmm.
and then they just exploded. Just exploded. I think what are they like? Last time I saw they were like in the like 50 something.
Yeah, right around 40s to
Oh
50s,
my
depending
gosh.
which
Yeah,
one you get.
that's
Yeah, we
absurd.
have three of those. Two of the titaniums and one with the diamonds on the bezel.
Nice. Yeah,
So
man. I think that's a sick watch. And I mean the fact that that shows how like outside the box he thinks too, if he's willing to take a quartz movement and push it that far to the limits. Um, but oh, that's somebody's got an interesting question, Thomas, about
Kerry
Kerry Boudelainen.
Boudelaine.
Yeah.
I believe that's actually the watch that Marco wears. He has the I can't even think of the name. I give him a hard time all the time, called Swiss and Edit. It's made by Kerry Boudelaine. Shorts and E10. If you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
It's
maybe.
the
So I know.
shorts and E10.
I think Kari does a lot of
Like the
he also
stamping.
yes, like he actually makes the dials and does like
Mhm.
collaborations with a lot of other brands too. So
Yeah.
that would make sense.
As far as an
Um,
actual carry boot, I don't think we have, to my knowledge.
yeah.
But yeah,
Um,
he does some great stuff.
you know what? Oh,
Uh,
you know what? Actually, I should mention. I don't want to fail to mention one of some of my favorite watches, man, ever. That this is probably not really like a common opinion. I think a lot of people are probably indifferent about this brand, but the stuff that Cartier has been doing recently,
mhm,
dude, man, if I could like go back in time and get some of those CPC pieces from like the 90s,
mhm.
um, man, like the mono pusher that was designed, by Denny Flageolet and FP Journe, and can't remember the third watchmaker. His name escapes me, but like, dude, the Privé collection stuff that they've been coming out with, like the platinum, the chinois that recently came out, the asymmetrique from like a year or two ago. Oh man, if I could get my hands on some of those pieces, if I was like a real baller, I'd probably just be a full-time like Privé collection Cartier wear. Like
Love
something
Cartier.
about it, man. It's like exact opposite spectrum of what's really popular today, with like
Mhm.
or has been recently with this steel sports watches. Oh man, I love everything about like what Cartier is doing now too. And actually, I've been looking into getting a solar tank or one of those
Mhm.
must Cartiers with like
Mhm.
those solid colors, whether it be like the black or blue or the burgundy. But I forgot to mention that as a potential future acquisition.
Those are cool pieces.
Yeah, and I know you're paying, what is it, 2,500, whatever it is, plus for a quartz simple watch, but like, I'm not, let's be honest, I'm not buying that watch for the movement in it.
Mhm.
Like I'm buying it for the history and the heritage, the design, the classiness, like everything that comes along with Cartier.
It's
So
almost like things come in cycles. Like I remember Cartier, like what was it like in the '90s was really popular, and then they kind
yeah.
of phased out a little bit, and now they're starting to come back again.
Yeah, and they made
And,
some of those really big obnoxious pieces in the 2000s to kind of keep up with like the jumbo size Breitling Panerai craze.
mhm.
um like the massive Santos, Dumont, the Santos XLs that they had in like the 2000s and all that. um and now they're kind of coming back to their sort of classic, more refined stuff, which I think is, I mean, like man, like a skeleton Santos would be freaking amazing. So yeah, I gotta give it to Cartier. I've been loving their stuff a lot, man. But yeah, I was really into Just Watches for a while, and then I came back around to divers. So I kind of just it just all goes in waves.
Mhm.
What I'm into, more dressier or more casual, just comes in waves.
Like right now, I'm into the affordable stuff, but I'll probably get back into the expensive stuff again.
Yeah,
Personally, it's
exactly.
up and
I'm
down.
right there with you right now too, man. I'm like kind of having a flashback, having some fun. And then I'm
Mhm.
sure, who knows, maybe like SCIHH comes around. I did hear, which something that could pique my interest potentially is I think IWC, I think the sales team at IWC has hinted, I've heard on other podcasts that they've hinted that they're going to bring back the redesign or the original design of the Ingenieur from the 70s,
Oh, nice.
which is like, you know, almost like too little, too late. It's like
Mhm.
still sports integrated.
It's just like another
Hype has
just
been here for so long, guys. How long
yeah.
is it going to take you? And like they were such idiots too. I hate to say it, but they were idiots. They
Mhm.
discontinued the Ingenieur line for the current Ingenieur line, and the previous one was like perfect for competition against the APs and the Vacherons and the
Mhm.
5711s like of the world. And they discontinued it and they turned it like into more of
Mhm.
like a dressy looking watch. It's like, what are you doing? That's exactly what you're not supposed to do right now.
Like, I like the
Um,
IWC engine or the, AMG collab that they did a while back.
Yep,
I
yep.
like it's just too
It's like
thick,
bigger
like, too
too.
big
It's like
a yeah, too
46
big of a watch,
millimeters, I
yeah,
think, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I
It's
can't
too big
remember
a
the
watch.
reference of that model like year range, but I had like the 40 millimeter white dial on
Okay.
Janor for a little while when I was in New York, and it was like incredible. It was an incredible piece. They had like you had these little push buttons to release the links instead of like
Mhm.
actual, push pins or anything like that. It was like a push pin plus a button system. It was unbelievable, unbelievable watch, and they decided to discontinue it all while all the steel sports integrated hype is
Hmm.
blowing up.
I like a lot
That's
of
beyond me,
IWC.
man.
I
Yeah.
like the, what is it, the Mark 16, it's kinda similar to this, just kinda like a clean, sterile, like, white dial. If
Yeah,
you've
well,
heard
so
of, like,
that
the
they were
Mark 16,
they just discontinued the
I think.
18. They were at 18, and now there's the 20, which is
Mhm.
like the new. It's called the IWC XX, right? The Mark XX, Mark
Mhm.
20, um, and that's pretty cool because that's got like an increased power reserve as well. But I think at the end of the day, I can't remember. I think this one's like a true in-house movement too. I don't think it's just a Solita like some kind of Solita
Mhm.
mock up, you know.
Which is why a
Um,
lot of people had problems with IWC in the beginning because they were overpriced for a Salida
yeah,
based movement
man.
for what they were.
I actually had a white dial 18. I had a white dial 18, Mark 18, and that was still an IWC caliber like 2892
Mhm.
ETA. But then like some of these new special editions that they were coming out with were the Solid, and I guess that's the time um, when the ETA movement stock was really starting to shrink, and brands really had to start pursuing Solida, right,
Mhm.
for their stuff.
Yeah, because Swatch pretty much owns Etta now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly.
what are your thoughts on
So
Breguet? Thomas is saying he loves the classics.
I do like the classiques. I think Brega is pretty underrated. Um, what the heck is the I can't remember the name of the sports watch that they discontinued and changed to. I'm like blanking on it. 5817, is that Breguet 5817? Yes. Okay. So the 5817. Oh God, see, look at that. In the back of my brain, it's still there. One of my favorite watches actually of all time. I shouldn't say that. It's a little bit generous, but a watch that I really, really love and was like really considering at one point was the Breguet 5817. And that was like kind of their dive watch. And that's another watch that they completely, kind of like IWC did with the Ingenieur, they completely changed that entire lineup. The Breguet Marine, they completely changed
Mhm.
that entire lineup for the worse, in my opinion.
I like the Type 20 actually.
Oh yeah. How could I forget about the Type 20? Yeah, for me, as I've always been like, I feel like it's either like a Speedmaster or Type 20 camp. Like if you're gonna decide to buy your first like decent chronograph, and I just kind of went the speedy direction. But with that said, like the Type 20 is an awesome watch, man. I've seen and handled a few and like worn a few of them. And I think they're great. I think Breguet is underrated for their more like hot horology stuff that they do too, for sure. Like crazy value for the type of finishing that you get, like the coinage bezels that they have, even like the case finishing. It's all that's like Russian oligarch status, That's what I think when I think Breguet.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, we're
Cool,
going on about 40 minutes now. You want to call it a night then?
Yeah, man, let's do it. I still got to go get dinner with the wife, so she's
All
probably
right.
gonna be yelling at me
Enjoy,
soon.
man. Thanks,
Cool,
everybody,
dude.
for joining in. Appreciate you, Adam, for coming on. We'll have to do a couple more live streams again. Hopefully, maybe get you back on YouTube.
Hell yeah, man.
So,
Thanks
all
for
right,
having
guys.
me, man. It was awesome
Talk to you
chatting.
later. Yes, sir.
Later.